Hey babes, it's Jenni Prokopy here with another AWAP Wednesday. If you haven't joined us before, AWAP stands for As Well As Possible. And in all things chronic babe, that's what I wish for you, to do the best that you can in every moment, to really lead a kick-ass life in spite of illness. Today's AWAP Wednesday question comes from a fellow chronic babe as usual, and she writes, I have ME, otherwise known as myalgic encephalomyelitis, and I really notice how it gets worse whenever I'm stressed. Today I was chatting to two women I know who described their ME getting worse quite dramatically in stressful situations. I feel like the key to me getting better is to manage my stress levels. Sometimes everything seems to make me stressed. People say that when you have an illness like ME, you should avoid stressful situations. This sounds like avoiding people altogether, which is not practical or desirable for most people. Do you have any advice on this? Much love. Okay, well first, much love to you. Mwah. And that is a great question, babe. A lot of us with chronic illness are told over and over again to avoid stress, but the reality is there are people in our lives who stress us and situations that stress us that we just can't get away from. But I have a few things for you to think about that I hope will be helpful for you. First, with all due respect, babe, I want to tell you that the idea of avoiding people altogether is bogus. Can't do it. Can't hear you say it, and I really don't recommend it. Isolation is so bad for us when we have chronic illness. So I want to offer you a few ways that you can learn to build stronger relationships with people and minimize the stressful impact of them instead of isolating and just avoiding people. You may have heard the phrase before, good fences make good neighbors. And this is basically describing boundaries. Boundaries, you might think that they protect us from people and they shield us from people and that's all they do, but they actually serve to strengthen relationships we have with people on both sides of the fence, on both sides of the boundary. Think about it this way. Let's say, for example, you have a family member and whenever you're in person with them interacting, it's very, very stressful, but you do a lot better with phone calls. So say you set up a boundary that means you don't really see them in person that much or at all, but you do schedule a weekly phone call with them so you can catch up. This actually is good for both of you because instead of just simply avoiding the person and hurting their feelings or making them feel sad, you're still making an effort to have a relationship with them, but you're doing it in a way that's healthy for you too. So as you can see, it's good for both people. One of the things I like to do is try to apply a different conversational model to conversations and interactions with people that cause me stress. So let's take, for example, someone, let's say a friend who loves to talk politics all the time, but that really stresses you out. So let's imagine a different way that you could approach a conversation with this friend. Okay, so the friend says, oh, isn't it terrible what's happening in the Middle East? I saw all these terrible images in the news today. Have you been following the news? Aren't you very upset? Now, this is a completely legitimate thing for her to say, but it causes you stress. So in response to that, you might want to say, hey, I hear you and I agree, it's very terrible and I can tell you're so passionate about this. And I want to let you know I'm really working on managing my stress levels and talking about this stresses me out. So can we talk about the new craft that you're working on, or maybe the Real Housewives of Orange County or Kitties? Obviously that's a made-up scenario, but the key here, the key concept is that you recognize and acknowledge that person. In this case, you said, hey, I can see you're really passionate about this and I agree, it's terrible. You don't even have to agree, but if you acknowledge where they're coming from and then state what you need and set a healthy boundary, again, it's really good for both of you because it means you can still have a conversation and get that connection and caring and support, but doing it in a way that doesn't add stress to your day. If you're interested in reading about boundaries, my favorite book is called Where to Draw the Line. It's by Anne Catherine, and it is just a fantastic guide for anybody who's looking to learn how to build healthy boundaries. Remember that boundaries are not just about blocking people out and limiting exposure. They're about building stronger relationships that are based on the needs and expectations and desires that you have and the healthy actions that work for you and for the other person. The people who love you and respect you want the best for you, and they want you to be healthy. So it's your job to start working on building these boundaries and setting some guidelines for your relationships. You can't expect people to read your mind or to guess what's going to work best for you. It's really your responsibility. And I do feel that a lot of people will respect that and work with that, and I think you'll build stronger relationships. And folks who resist you building boundaries, maybe they need stronger fences. So maybe your best friend gets a rope line. Maybe your nosy Aunt Martha gets like a chain link fence, maybe with a little barbed wire at the top. Maybe that neighbor who keeps, saying a bunch of crap to you that you don't like, maybe they get a concrete wall that goes 12 feet high. I don't know. You have to decide how strong your boundaries are going to be with different people. Remember too that boundaries are going to change over time. So as you get more comfortable with someone, as you build up trust, your boundaries are going to shift. You might let them in a little bit more. You might share more with them. So don't go into this thinking that everything's going to be static and unchangeable. These are things that are going to evolve over time. Finally here, I want to say that you may realize there are people you just have to cut off. I mean, this is just life. There may be people that just aren't healthy for you and cause you a huge amount of stress, and if you try to build boundaries with them and they don't respect them, then you may just need to put up a wall. You may need to figure out some physical limit or some emotional limit that you set that just doesn't let them in, because you don't need that. You don't need that extra stress in your life. Now it's your turn. I want to hear all about your experience with boundaries. Have you tried to set boundaries with people that they've paid attention to or not paid attention to? I would love to hear your stories. So if you're at YouTube, actually hop on over to chronicbabe.com and add them to the comments. That's where we have the biggest conversation, and we average about 15 comments per video, per post, which is a great level of conversation. You're going to get lots of great ideas. Did you like this video? Please like it on Facebook or YouTube or wherever you are, and share it across your social media channels. We are on Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest and Instagram and I don't know where else, a bunch of other places. So you never know who you could help. You could be helping somebody make a real difference in their life by showing them this video. So please share it with someone you love. Can't get enough of AWAP Wednesday? You know, our AWAP Wednesday playlist has now more than 4 hours of videos designed to help you lead a totally awesome life in spite of illness. So dive in. There are tons and tons and tons of videos for you to catch and lots of bloopers for you to laugh at. Is there a question I can answer for you? I would love to answer questions. This is where all the questions come from, is from my audience. So shoot me an email or add your question below and I will try to answer it in a future video. And if you like what you see, I really encourage you to subscribe to the Chronic Babe newsletter. Just head over to chronicbabe.com and in the top row you can type in your name and email. I never share my list. I only share really amazing stuff with y'all every week, like really, really fun stuff. So don't miss out. Lots of free goodies. Head on over and subscribe today. Okay, babes, that's what I've got for you today. I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I look forward to hearing your stories. Now go out and make it a kick-ass week. Be AWAP. Mwah. Beep. Which is myalgic encephalomyelitis. Myalgic encephalomyelitis. I'm the worst.